from the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media or Voice of America on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. This is Dateline Malacañang, and I'm your host, Leo Magpayo. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday confirmed that 9 Filipino seafarers previously held by Houthi forces in Yemen are finally returning home. The President credited the close cooperation between the Philippines and Oman for securing their release. In a video message, President Marcos shared that the seafarers arrived in Oman on Wednesday, where they were welcomed by officials from the Philippine Embassy in Muscat and the Department of Migrant Workers or DMW. After a brief documentation process, they were cleared for immediate repatriation. The chief executive expressed gratitude to the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA, the DMW, and embassy officials for their efforts, while extending special thanks to the Omani government for its tireless assistance. He also acknowledged Sultan Haitham bin Tariq for Oman's steadfast support and friendship with the Philippines. President Marcos emphasized the significance of the timing, noting that seafarers will be reunited with their families before Christmas. The President also offered condolences to the family of Neil Roy Faner, a Filipino crew member who perished when the vessel was attacked. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to safeguarding Filipino seafarers, recognizing the dangers they face in conflict zones worldwide. The 9 survivors were part of the crew of MV Eternity Sea, which sank in the Red Sea in July after being attacked. They were held in Yemen for months before being turned over to Omani authorities earlier this week.
Yung siyam na marino na ating kababayan ay naligtas mula sa lumubog ng barko, yung MV Eternity Sea sa Red Sea noong Hulyo, at sila ay binihag ng mga Houthi sa Yemen. Sila po ay pauwi na. Itong Miyerkules na dumating sila sa Oman mula sa Yemen, at sinalubong sila ng mga tauhan natin sa Philippine Embassy sa Muscat at saka ng Department of Migrant Workers. Papasalamat tayo sa lahat ng ginawa ng DFA, ng DMW, ng Philippine Embassy sa Oman. At huwag po natin kakalimutan na magpasalamat sa Omani government dahil sila talaga ay walang tigil na tumutulong sa atin. At kaya't pinapaabot ko ang pasasalamat ko sa Sultanate of Oman. Ang namumuno ay ang Sultan Haitham bin Tariq. At sila po ay talagang kaibigan po ng Pilipino, at lahat ng maaring gawin para iligtas ang ating mga marino ay kanilang ginawa. Kaya naman ay nandito na tayo at nailigtas yung siyam. Dumating sila sa Oman, nagka-briefing ng kaunti, inaayos ang mga dokumento nila, at hindi na natin pinatagal. Gusto na siguro nila umuwi, Pasko pa. Kaya pinauwi na natin at parating na rito sa Pilipinas. Papaabot din natin ang ating pakikiramay sa pamilya ni Mr. Neil Roy Faner dahil po siya ay sumakabilang buhay nung inatake yung barko na sinasakyan ng mga marino natin. Ito po ay ating ginawa dahil alam naman natin na kuminsan delikado ang nagiging buhay ng ating mga marino dahil kung saan sila pumupunta, napapasok sila sa war zone, kung saan yung mga lugar kung saan may gera, nadadamay sila. Kaya mabuti kahit medyo natagalan ay sa wakas ay makauwi na ang ating mga kababayan. Welcome home sa inyong lahat. Tamang-tama, Merry Christmas.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the 9 Filipino seafarers who had been held hostage by Yemen's Houthi rebels, along with the remains of their fellow mariner, are finally back in the Philippines just in time for the holiday season. Their flight touched down at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA Terminal 1 in Manila at around 9:30 Thursday evening, marking the end of a months-long ordeal that began after their vessel was attacked and they were taken captive. The group was accompanied by Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Magpayo, who earlier in the day announced their return through a speech delivered by his wife, Ruby Alvarez, during the traditional University Award for Government Service at the Ateneo de Manila University. The seafarers, together with Kaktak, flew home from Muscat, Oman, where they had been transferred after their release from Sana'a, Yemen. Their arrival brings relief to families who had anxiously awaited their return, especially with Christmas fast approaching. In a press briefing, Kakdak said the Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, and the Philippine Embassy in Oman coordinated closely to ensure the safe repatriation of the seafarers. Secretary Kakdak highlighted the importance of international cooperation in securing their release and facilitating their journey back to the Philippines.
Ako naman, sisimulan ko lang kasi we need to give the Department of Foreign Affairs a chance, no? Kasi sila talaga ang nagpasinaya, nagkaroon ng koordinasyon sa Sultanate of Oman with respect to the release of the 9 seafarers. But ako naman, ibabahagi ko lang yung karanasan namin, which is kasama ng ating Philippine Embassy in Oman, Ambassador Raul Hernandez. Of course, under the leadership of Secretary Tess Lazaro here in Manila, ay nagpasinaya nung salubong. We were so well treated by the Omani government, kaya akmang-akma yung pagpasasalamat ng ating mahal na Pangulo kay Sultan Haitham bin Tariq, Sultan ng Oman, Sultanate ng Oman, at yung kanyang mga kasama sa pamahalaan doon, Foreign Affairs Ministry, pati yung military air base. Kasi dumating sila, they were flown through a military aircraft from Sana'a, Omani aircraft to Sana'a, from Sana'a to Muscat. It was about a 2-hour 45-minute travel. And they landed in Muscat in the airbase around, let's say around, it was around 9:30 I think at night. Halos kaparehas nung oras na dumating sila dito ngayong gabi. And sinalubong, and there were formalities, of course, and but we were treated very well in terms of giving a chance to personally meet doon sa tarmac mismo. Pagbaba nila, sinalubong na namin yung Sham as they were descending the stairs from the aircraft, and we had a chance, of course, to see them and talk to them dun pa lang sa pagdating, and we're so very thankful for that. And again, the cordiality and the hospitality of the Omanis ay ganun na lamang, ano. I'm really so appreciative of what they have done, and thankful, no. We joined the president in expressing our gratitude to the Omani government, to the Sultanate of Oman. And of course, needless to say, very thankful kami doon sa reunion with the families tonight. Nakilala na rin namin yung mga pamilya over the last 5 months, at kami na rin ay parang nagiging vicarious participation na kami. Nararamdaman na namin yung pain at hinanakit at longing at impatience at ano pang mga emotions ng families, yung spouses ng siyam na tripulante. So it's very heartwarming. There's nothing more we want tonight than to watch them reunite with their families, the hugs and the kisses and the tears of joy. Nako, talagang priceless yan, ano? Parang today is a day na talagang ang sarap maging kawani ng pamahalaan to witness all these.
The return of the seafarers underscores the government's commitment to protecting overseas Filipino workers or OFWs, particularly those exposed to risks in conflict zones. Their homecoming also serves as a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by Filipino mariners, who continue to play a vital role in global shipping despite the dangers they face. For the families of the 9 survivors, the reunion is especially meaningful as it comes during the Christmas season, a time traditionally centered on togetherness and hope.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Thursday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. announced that the 1.3-kilometer Bocana Bridge in Davao City will officially open to motorists on December 15th, a development expected to ease traffic congestion during the busy holiday season. The president made the statement after inspecting the structure, also known as the Davao River Bridge, which forms part of the larger Davao City Bypass project. President Marcos said the bridge is projected to reduce travel time across the city from nearly 2 hours to just 20 to 25 minutes once operational. Funded through a grant from China, the Bocana Bridge spans 480 meters across the Bocana area and is expected to carry around 35,000 vehicles daily. It will serve as a vital link to decongest traffic in Davao City's downtown district. President Marcos credited the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, and its Chinese contractors for the swift completion of the project, citing their advanced technology and cost-efficient methods. The chief executive congratulated the workers involved and expressed optimism that motorists will benefit immediately once the bridge opens. President Marcos also highlighted the broader Davao City Bypass, a 5.5-kilometer, 4-lane highway stretching from Toril to Panabo City. Approved in July of 2022 and launched in late 2023, the bypass is scheduled for completion by December 20th, 2027. Once finished, it is expected to cut travel time between Toril and Panabo from 1 hour and 44 minutes to just 49 minutes.
Nandito ngayon tayo sa Bocana Bridge. Nakakatapos, it is a 1.3-kilometer bridge. Kasama ito sa buong bypass na ginagawa around the Davao City. At ito'y sinasabi, ang estimate natin, na ang biyahe na dati halos 2 oras ay mababawasan, magiging mga 25 minutes, 20 minutes na lang. Kaya't malaking ginhawa. Lalong-lalo na ay ngayon na magpapasko tayo, alam naman natin nangyayari sa traffic. Kaya ito ay magagamit. We will open the bridge on the 15th, December 15, gagawin na. Matatapos yung buong bypass by December 2027. So tuloy tapos na lahat ito all the way. Kaya't ito ay nagsimula, na-approve ito noong July ng 2022. Nagsimula ito ng 2023, early 2023.
Late 2023.
I'm sorry, late 2023 kasi mga approval. At ngayon ay tapos na. Kaya't natulungan naman tayo ng ating mga Chinese na contractor dahil ang ganda ng technology nila kaya't napakabilis at marunong talaga sila magpatayo ng magandang tulay, magandang infrastructure na mabilis at nasa tamang gastos, nasa tamang presyo. So this is one of the 4 major projects that we our legacy projects that we will be finishing in Davao and its environs. So nakatapos na tayo, marami na tayong nabuksan na section dito. And this will be now another major part of this bypass road. So I'm congratulating the DPWH for their good attention to this matter, and lahat ng nagtrabaho rito, congratulations, at we're looking forward to December 15 kung kailan meron ng dadaan na traffic dito.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday reiterated his administration's commitment to strengthening support for government troops and enhancing security operations in Mindanao. According to the Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, the President made the pledge during his visit to the Eastern Mindanao Command, or East MINCOM, headquarters at Camp Panakan in Davao City. In a security briefing, SMINCON officials updated the chief executive on ongoing anti-insurgency campaigns, maritime patrols, and disaster response operations. President Marcos underscored the command's vital role as a pillar of national security, particularly in maintaining peace and order in the region. Following the briefing, President Marcos met with troops and assured them of continued government support. He vowed to provide the necessary equipment and training to further strengthen their operational capabilities. The Commander-in-Chief also commended soldiers for their dedication in safeguarding communities, especially in areas still facing residual threats. President Marcos's visit came a day after he signed Executive Order 107, which increases the base pay and daily subsistence allowance of military and uniformed personnel, or MUP, to 350 pesos. The adjustment will take effect on January 1st, 2026, and will be implemented in 3 tranches. The Philippine President emphasized that these measures reflect the government's recognition of the sacrifices made by soldiers and its commitment to ensuring their welfare while they continue to protect the nation.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. received expressions of gratitude from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, and the Philippine Military Academy Alumni Association, or PMAAI, following his issuance of Executive Order No. 107, which increases the base pay and subsistence allowance of military and other uniformed personnel. In a statement, the AFP extended its utmost appreciation to the Commander-in-Chief for prioritizing the welfare of troops through the forthcoming salary adjustments. The AFP said this gesture of support and recognition serves as a significant boost to the morale of every soldier, sailor, airman, and marine, adding that it is a reminder of the overwhelming trust accorded to the armed forces by the government and the people they serve. The AFP assured the public that the directive will be implemented efficiently, reaffirming its commitment to defend the nation with integrity, professionalism, and dedication. Meanwhile, PMAAI Chairman and Chief Executive Officer Cav Ramon Punzalan described the executive order as a significant and meaningful recognition of the military's role in safeguarding peace and security. Punzalan added that the Alumni Association remains committed to fostering excellence, patriotism, and the highest standards of service. President Marcos clarified that the pay increase covers personnel from the Department of National Defense, or DND, Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, Bureau of Corrections, or BUCOR, and National Mapping and Resource Information Authority, or NAMRIA. The increase will be implemented in 3 tranches: January 1st, 2026, January 1st, 2027, and January 1st, 2028. The subsistence allowance will also be raised to 350 pesos per day starting January 1st, 2026.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, Malacañang on Thursday expressed respect for former Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH Secretary Rogelio Babes Singson's decision to step down from the Independent Commission for Infrastructure or ICI, citing health reasons. In a radio interview, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro acknowledged that the demanding workload of the ICI may have affected Singson's health, noting the Commission's daily hearings on anomalous flood control projects and the extensive paperwork involved. Castro stressed that Singson's resignation should not be politicized, emphasizing that it was purely due to health concerns. She clarified that despite leaving the ICI, Singson intends to continue sharing his expertise with the DPWH, particularly in implementing the flood control master plan he initiated. She also assured the public that the ICI remains capable of fulfilling its mandate under the leadership of retired Supreme Court Associate Justice Andres Reyes Jr., adding that attempts to cast doubt on the Commission's credibility are unfounded. Defending the ICI's interrogation process, Castro highlighted that the Commission conducts hearings with respect and professionalism. Castro contrasted the ICI's approach with other hearings where witnesses are sometimes humiliated or threatened.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Malacañang on Thursday expressed confidence that Congress will expedite deliberations on the proposed 2026 national budget, stressing that reliance on a reenacted 2025 appropriations could hinder government operations. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro, in a radio interview, underscored the risk of operating under a reenacted budget. Castro emphasized the importance of timely approval to ensure the smooth delivery of government services. She noted that President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. prefers Congress to pass the 2026 budget on schedule rather than defaulting to a continuation of the previous year's appropriations. A reenacted budget, she clarified, simply extends the prior year's allocations with a new spending plan, is not enacted on time, often limiting flexibility in addressing emerging priorities. Responding to concerns raised by lawmakers about time constraints, Castro said the president shares the same urgency. Castro assured the public that despite the tight schedule, President Marcos will thoroughly review the proposed 2026 budget. Malacañang's appeal reflects the administration's determination to avoid disruptions in government programs and projects, particularly as the country prepares for another fiscal year. The palace reiterated that swift congressional action is crucial to sustaining economic momentum and ensuring that resources are allocated efficiently to meet national needs.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Malacañang on Thursday criticized Vice President Sara Duterte's approach of diverting public attention from issues surrounding her office by shifting the narrative against the Marcos administration. In a radio interview, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said this is part of their strategy to deflect from the issues they are facing. Castro urged that Duterte's repeated verbal attacks on the government are intended to distract from controversies involving the office of the Vice President or OVP. Among these is the reported purchase of closed-circuit television or CCTV units priced at 200,000 pesos each. She pointed out that while the OVP initially insisted its planning and reporting were proper, the Commission on Audit or COA flagged several irregularities. These included missing reports, inadequate documentation, uncertified beneficiaries, and the absence of feasibility studies. Castro also cited other unresolved issues, such as a 15 million peso fund reportedly tied to the Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP certificates used during a youth summit, allegedly to conceal portions of confidential funds. The palace official emphasized that the Marcos administration has been transparent in addressing anomalies, while Duterte's narrative has attempted to shift blame toward the president. Castro underscored that the OVP should instead focus on providing accurate, complete, and verifiable reports to ensure proper management of public funds. She reiterated the call for transparency in resolving audit findings, stressing that accountability is essential to maintain public trust.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download eVox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.